Hello all, I am Ronimus Prime. I'm your host for the day. It is Monday, May 23rd, 2022. We're going to be going ahead and doing something special today. It is the weekend wrap-up where we look at things that I thought were notable in terms of the world of gaming. We're also going to be looking at the recent Major 3 Week 2 qualifiers to see how things played out, see where I was right, where I was wrong, going forward, what teams may need to do. And yeah, we're going to go and look at that. But thank you guys so much, and here we go. First off, guys, this was a great weekend this weekend. I've got no complaints to start off with, none whatsoever. But we're going to first start off by thanking GameRant.com. They released this article, and I happened to notice it, and I figured I'd share it with you guys. They're stating that June 2022 is shaping up to be a massive month for gaming, and what they mean by that is kind of look at this breakdown they brought us. You know, they're saying June is traditionally a big time for the gaming in the industry in terms of new game reveals and announcements. It's a big deal. There's no E3 this year. It's kind of sad, but I understand why they're doing it. Things are still kind of a little bit, you know, interesting in the world in terms of, you know, the pandemic and stuff. So this definitely makes sense that they would be canceling it. But with that, a lot of companies are doing online events. So it would make sense that we're going to see some cool stuff. This right here is the breakdown for so far what has been announced for June and is supposedly going to be announced. As you can see here, there's the Summer Game Fest, which has been confirmed for June 9th at 11 a.m. There's the Xbox and Bethesda Game Showcase, which is June 12th at 10. The first Overwatch 2 event, which runs at June 16th. I think that's the next beta that they're running. And then supposedly, the Final Fantasy director has announced that there's going to be some sort of announcement. Belief in the community is that it's going to be Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2. As a person who played and enjoyed the first one, this is a very exciting possibility. My thinking is it's probably going to be Final Fantasy 16. We're going to get a release date on that. We're going to get a more concise trailer, maybe some English dubbing if we haven't seen that already. I don't think we have, but I think that that's what they're going to do. And if they do Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2, it'll be a very minute trailer with not a lot of spoilers and give us kind of a time frame of when they think they're going to release it. Regardless, that's a very cool possibility. Another thing that's been announced as a possibility is that PlayStation may run a State of Play in June as well. There's been a potential rumor that this was going to take place in a couple months, and it could be even less than that. You know, with Xbox running their event in June, it would make sense that PlayStation would want to counter by running an event around the same time to get people, you know, noticing what they're doing. And as they are a competitor of Xbox, I could easily see them waiting a week. Now, you know, Xbox runs their event, people are excited, all hyped about Xbox, and then all of a sudden PlayStation's like, oh, well, we're doing a State of Play. So props to PlayStation for not announcing anything yet and kind of playing the waiting game on this. So we'll see what they do, but the kind of the talk among people is that it's going to be in June. Final thing is, we may get Modern Warfare 2 fully trailer announced, maybe a possible release date, because that was recently leaked online. And with it being leaked online, the possibility of them actually announcing something is more now possible than ever. So it's very interesting to see what things could be coming. Also, there are some games releasing in June as well. Here, give me a second here. I'll find those for you. The new games releasing. Right off the bat, we have Diablo Immortal for people who are excited to play that on mobile. You know, we'll see how that is. We got Mario Strikers Battle League coming out on June 10th. We have The Quarry coming out on June 10th. Fall Guys coming out on June 21st. I don't know if that's the Xbox release or if that is like the actual out of beta release. I think it's the Xbox release. We have Sonic Origins coming in June 23rd. We have Capcom Fighting Collection coming June 24th. We have Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes coming June 24th. We have Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak coming June 30th. And then Lego Brawls to be announced, but they're believing sometime in June. With all this going on, June is definitely going to be a big month for gaming this year. I'm excited to see what we get. It's the best time of the year for a gamer. You get in the summertime, and that's when everything's announced. So I think it's going to be very cool. I think we've got some cool stuff to look forward to. And yeah, but that's what's going to do for that, guys, in terms of talking about gaming in June. And let's go ahead and move on to our next little topic here. Also this weekend, we did have the Week 2 qualifiers of the CDL Major 3. And after looking at my predictions back, I had to watch those back this morning to see how I did. I was wrong officially about 3 matches. So for the weekend, I went 7-3. The previous week, I went 6-4. So for a total, I have 13-7, which isn't a bad record. I'd like it to be a little bit better. Instant takeaways from this. Just not looking at really results too in depth because I'm going to do that a little bit more in my predictions. This is just kind of takeaways. I was completely wrong about Minnesota. And I look back at my results, I predicted them to lose every match they've played, and they've done the exact opposite, which they've won all 4 matches. So props to them in proving me wrong. Props to them in bringing in Havoc and having it make an impact. They beat some good teams this week. The Toronto win was absolutely huge. I didn't think they were going to take that. They won that 3-2. They beat Florida Mutineers, which is also a great team. So props to Minnesota for being at the top of the pack, being the only team right now for the qualifiers that is 4-0, top of the standings. So instant takeaways. Second takeaway. I was 100% right about FaZe. I got the series score right, and I got the W right. Optic won that, and they won it 3-1. That is exactly what I said. You go back and watch my week 2 predictions. That's what they did, and it is proof now that FaZe has a mental block. They went from winning respawns to only being able to win an S and D. That is a complete reversal of fortunes. It's like they got worse. If you go back and look at some of the KDs from Simp and Abizi in this series, it is like night and day compared to when they played Boston. They destroyed Boston 3-0, and it is a completely different team when they play Optic, and I don't know what is going on. Maybe they just don't like the game. Maybe this game just isn't playing the way that for them that it is, but I was completely right about this, and it's kind of scary. One of the things that I also really noted is that your top 6 teams after this weekend have to be just based upon standings here. I'm gonna pull those up for you guys. Obviously, Minnesota's number 1. They have not lost a match. This week is going to be interesting. We'll go through those with like some of my predictions. Optic 2, Seattle FaZe 3, 4 or 5 with Ultra. I mean, you could interchange those if you want to. I think FaZe will be probably the 2nd or 3rd seed. I think Optic or Minnesota will probably be that 1st seed. And you could probably interchange those. New York, top 6. And then you get through 7 through like 12 here. The way this plays out, honestly, because Paris this week, they play Toronto Ultra. I don't think they're going to make the Major 3. I think you can probably take Paris out of that initially. But if you look at LAG, does LAG have 2 matches? They have 1 match this week. So they're a little bit out of it too. But if you look at London Royal Ravens, LA Thieves, Florida Mutineers, Boston Breach, if you look at those 4 teams, that's going to be a battle for those final 2 spots. Boston this week, they played 2 matches, one of which is against one of the teams that they are potentially, actually 2 matches against teams that could potentially take their spot. London this week is playing 2 matches as well, so they have a possibility to come into that. LA Thieves is an additional 2 matches. And then let's look at Florida here. And Florida has an additional 2 matches. So it's very possible that you could have these last 2 spots be really up for grabs. I mean, shoot, even if subliners finish out like they lose the final 2 matches, they could not make this Major 3 at the 6th position. I think your top 5 is pretty much sealed up. I think Minnesota, Optic, Seattle, Atlanta, Toronto are all going to be in the Major 3. I think with 1 week left to go in qualifiers, that's it. I could be wrong about that. I think there's only 3 weeks of qualifiers. It looks like there's only 3 weeks, yeah. And with that being said, I think your top 5 is sealed up. But I think those final 2 spots are going to be up for grabs. And with my predictions, it's going to be real interesting to see how this plays out. But definitely instant takeaways are, if Minnesota ends up going undefeated in this, because I think they've got 1 more match. Yeah, they have 1 more match against FaZe. If they beat FaZe in these online qualifiers, that's definitely huge. That will really let us know where they're at. Now, will that translate to LAN? We'll have to wait and see, because they've been obviously not a great LAN team, but we'll go from there. But that's my instant takeaways. These are kind of your breakdown of the leaderboard through Major 3 through the standings. Minnesota, Optic, the only undefeated team so far. Optic's played obviously 1 less series. It looks like everybody's going to play 5 matches through qualifiers, which makes sense. Unless these go longer. I'm assuming they go longer. I think we're getting a break. I don't know. But yeah, it looks like that these top 5 teams are probably going to make it, and the bottom 2 spots are going to be up for grabs. But that's going to do it for me, guys. These were awesome matches for the most part throughout The entire weekend we had at least one series a day that was really good. A couple blowouts that were to be expected, but all in all, Major 2 or Major 3 week 2 was really good, and I'm going to go ahead and follow it up with my predictions probably tomorrow. But once again, guys, thank you so much for watching through the video. As always, my opinions are my opinions. You don't have to agree with them, but I appreciate you sitting through the entire video. If you could do me a favor, please like the video and subscribe, and I will see you guys tomorrow.